you. Thank you very, very much. God bless you. Thank you. All of you standing scared the daylights out of me. I thought you were leaving. Oh, half of you are. I don't know if you remember this, but it was 3 years ago this month, April of 2008, when Barack Obama stood in San Francisco, and he made the infamous comment in which he said about folks like us, that they get bitter and they cling to their guns and religion. Well, I want you to know I stand here tonight as a gun clinger and as a God clinger, unapologetic. One of the great ironies of the last year has been that President Obama actually got an F from the Brady Bunch. I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up, because I believe that they thought his election would mean that every last firearm in America would be ground up by a great big metal saw, and the pieces done away with in some salvage yard somewhere. But they gave him an F, and I want you to understand, they did not give him an F because he is secretly going to gun shows. And they did not give him an F because he sits up at night with a flashlight under the covers, quietly reading American Rifleman. They gave him an F because he has not been as effective as they expected him to be, and the reason that he hasn't been is because of those of you in this room and the people like Wayne LaPierre and others, Chris Cox, and the many people at the NRA who work every day on our behalf to make sure that our basic fundamental rights as Americans are not taken from us. And thank God for that. But let me tell you what I fear is that the idea that fathers would take their sons out in the woods and teach them not only how to use a firearm, but how to respect the life that was in those woods. And how to understand that shooting is not for the purpose of killing, but it might be for the purpose of claiming food. And even then you do it with the greatest respect and always obeying the laws and being a sportsman first and foremost and practicing it with safety. The fact that we have increasingly numbers of kids who grow up without a dad around is one of the things that ought to frighten us most about preserving and protecting our heritage, not only as hunters, but as owners of firearms and as freedom-loving Americans. Today, we as taxpayers spend $300 billion a year on the dad deficit. It's the amount of money that we spend as taxpayers to pick up the slack for the kids whose fathers have disappeared. And when I hear people say that the issues of family and marriage don't really matter because we need to focus on the economy, I agree we ought to focus on the economy. But let's focus on an economy that is robbing us as taxpayers blind, because we have a lot of men who have irresponsibly abandoned their wives and their children and left the rest of us taxpayers with the responsibility of picking up the cost of doing what dads ought to honorably do. It is an economic issue. And if we want to address poverty in this country, and we should, let us not forget that if 2/3 of the children in poverty in this country would no longer be in poverty if the mothers of those children were married to the fathers of those children. These are important issues that cannot be ignored if we're going to fix the economy of the United States of America. I, for one, believe that Barack Obama's vision for America is wrong because his view of America is all wrong. His idea is that government can fix everything for us. Now, he's not alone in having this misguided perception. I was one of those people who believed that true conservatives were opposed to TARP and are opposed now to any government bailout where we are taxing increasingly the responsible small business owners of this country in order to take those funds and give them to the recklessly run big companies because we deem them too big to fail. That's like saying that many of you who run small businesses are too small to succeed. It's time for a reality check. And part of that reality check is that we get back to a celebration of real American values. And it's not just being a gun cleaner. I believe, without any apology, it is also about being one who does cling to God. Because we are a nation blessed by God. I don't believe we would have ever existed without Him. And I don't believe that we will survive without Him. But I sometimes worry about us. We were birthed by the greatest generation who gave everything so we would have a better life than they did. And God bless them for it. And they deserve the term greatest generation. We cannot afford to be a generation that leaves our children with nothing but a huge debt and the very erosion of the freedoms that our founders and our fathers died and gave us so valiantly. And that's why I say, let there never be a time in this country where some father has to look over his daughter's shoulder and see her ask this haunting question: why didn't somebody do something? Because in this room, we are the somebodies, and we commit we will do something to preserve this great American heritage. God bless you, and God bless the United States.